Hello, we're live. We're possibly 1 minute early, but there you go, better than being 1 minute late. We're running a bit of a lag, so we'll find out whether or not we're actually broadcasting. But just in case, hi, I'm George from Vochlea. This is Marie.
Hi, I'm Marie, also from Vochlea. I work on just to introduce ourselves quickly, I work on the product design, so all the user experience, user interface, features, etc. And then you fully...
It's been a little bit of a while since I've done one of these live streams. So those of you that remember me from the last will know that my style is perhaps not the most brushed. So apologies, this is a bit of a new thing for both of us, really, doing these live streams. But yeah, I've been at Vochlea since the start, and we're very pleased today to take you through the latest updates. Some of you may have already seen them because it's actually been live on the website now, but it's Dubler 2.2. And we've got, just to run through what's going to happen, we've got some questions coming in on the chat. We'll respond to some of those as we go. We've also got some people who will be answering questions directly, so things that are to do with, I don't know, do you ship to this country, those kind of questions and stuff like that. People should respond to you. Anything to do with demos and things like that, we'll try and respond in the stream. But yeah, let's dive in and take a look about what the latest updates are. Yeah?
Cool. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. So bear with us and let us know if there's any problems with hearing what we're saying and stuff like that. So let's just have a little look at the Midi Capture VST. And so this is, let's open Dubler actually as well. This is Dubler. We're not going to go through what Dubler is. We're not going to go through what the Midi Capture VST is exactly, although we will be predominantly focusing on that. But if you want to find out what those things are, we've got loads of tutorial information, loads of stuff on Instagram, YouTube and stuff like that, loads of videos. But today we're going to focus pretty much exclusively on what the latest updates are and what the latest changes we've done in this update. So yeah, this is the Dubler app. You can see that it's running 2.2 now. On here, it's looking pretty much exactly the same. You're going to get some slightly different pop-ups if you don't have Midi Capture active. But the main updates happened in the VST. Actually, that's not strictly true, and we could go into some of the technical side of it, because a lot of the heavy lifting is actually still done in Dubler. So on the audio engine side, there's been a lot of updates there in terms of what's being fed into the DAW. But what you actually see as a kind of user of Dubler is changed in the actual VST.
Yeah. Cool. Let's go and dive into what the VST looks like now. So for those of you who are not familiar with Midi Capture, this is our preferred way to let you record in your DAW. You can record, we're not going to go into too much detail, but you can record live into your DAW using Dubler. Or you can record your live performance using Midi Capture, and this will do additional nice things, basically. So you get cleaner MIDI, you get more options now on what MIDI you want to get. You get like a history. We'll dive into like all these different features, but yeah, basically we're super excited to have improved quite a bit the VST, this little VST that connects to Dubler. So there's kind of like the changes in the flow and changes in what's going in underneath the engine. Obviously, Midi Capture as a tool within Dubler, or rather within your DAW, existed before. But we made some changes to it. So you can see straight away, I've got it open here, and at the moment there is nothing going on. So I'm going to start recording something. And in the same way that we used to have it with the previous version of Midi Capture, you can start recording by pressing spacebar or clicking play in your DAW, or doing anything that starts the play, what's it called? The playback in your DAW, basically. Just the transport. The
transport. Yeah. Anything that gets the transport moving starts recording stuff in Dubler. And it's more like a kind of, I think of it less of recording and more like a kind of log. It's like streaming MIDI to Dubler, to the VST, and the VST is cleaning it up for you. So I've got an instrument on in the background. Let's just see. D, 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 D. So that is for anyone that's interested. Hopefully you can hear it because we're playing it through monitors in the office. So they're behind us. Let us know if you can't hear that. That's just a synth on massive. So you can see here if I go back into the to Ableton, it's this one here. It's some kind of like harpsichord one. D, 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 D. That's being controlled live by Dubler. I've got a key fix on in C minor. D, 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 D. So you can record. I could just record that straight away live into Dubler. And you know that's absolutely a good way for getting MIDI in. But if you're watching there and listening carefully, there was a couple of artifacts And so the Midi Capture VST allows you to kind of clean those up automatically. So let's go ahead and just see what it does. So I'm going to start playing. I would normally use spacebar because we've got so much kind of streaming stuff going on. I'm a bit nervous as to what that will do. So I'm just going to click spacebar. I've got a metronome running. Let's just see how it goes. Okay, so you can see there that it's been tracking the MIDI as I've sung it. It's going to have done some cleanup, and I can choose the key that I was in before or an alternate key, and I'll come on to that in a moment. But let's just drag that in and see how it actually sounds. So you can see it took a little bit of a while to decide what I was actually going to do. So I'll just clip off the silence at the beginning, and yeah, let's see. So it's got pretty clean MIDI there. I didn't have a particular melody in mind, to be honest, so it's quite difficult for me to say now, retrospectively, whether it did exactly what I was wanting. But it's certainly got a nice, clean, in-key tune. If I wanted, I could go and quantize it.
Yeah.
So what's different? What's happened differently here this time versus how that would have played out in the last version of Midi Capture?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things already that have changed. We've done some improvements in the background to the algorithm. So one of the key things that you get with Midi Capture is cleaner MIDI than if you record live. So for those of you who've already tried it, sometimes you can end up with little ghost notes or little things that you then need to manually edit. And we're doing all of this stuff for you. And then we've improved it again, essentially. So yeah, we could just hear that with George's example, pretty spot on. And then another really exciting things that we've introduced, should we jump onto the key update?
The key update or triggers? Because another thing you can see that actually I've made a bit of a demo error there, because you can see that I've got triggers on. I must have it on in Dubler at the same time. Yeah, so I've got triggers active in there. So what you can see, sorry, I know you just said to the key thing, but it's a bit confusing what's going on here. Not only have we got the pitch stuff here, but we've also got a triggers track. So we could come on and do that.
Yeah. Do the key. Yeah. No, let's talk about the triggers, because that's a good new update that we've done as well. So yeah, we're basically letting you record everything straight into Midi Capture. Previously, you could only do pitch, but now you can do pitch and chords and triggers.
Well, chords came out quite recently. Although we've incorporated that again with this changes, and we've got triggers in too.
Yeah, so let's just show, so basically you can switch between the two views. You have your triggers that you've trained in Dubler. You still need to kind of like set up Dubler however you want to use it. So this is more like a kind of mini view for you to have it in your DAW. And then you can record pitch and triggers at the same time if you want, which is what
some people can.
Some people can, or you can. What it does is basically, as long as it's enabled in Dubler, if you start recording in your DAW, if you start playing in your DAW, it will create those clips. If you sort of like do a trigger, like do a percussive sound as well as a pitch sound. So yeah, basically everything that you're recording will just appear. Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got some. Another thing you probably have worked out, if not now, but soon, is that I'm not a particularly sophisticated producer. So I've taken a couple of drum kits that come with Ableton, maybe come with Ableton Suite. So yeah, I mean, you could. This is the basics of what you can do with it. If I'm doing it, then it's the basics of what you can do with it. So I've got these 6 triggers already trained in Dubler, and what you're seeing in Midi Capture is just the same as what you've done in Dubler. So if I wanted to add another trigger or edit any of those triggers or do any other kind of settings or anything like that, I'd go back to Dubler, and that's where I'd kind of mess around with them. But they're all in Midi Capture here, and actually that's all live. So again, I could record that live, or if I was performing, I could perform that live. And that's, nice low latency. And actually, when it comes to triggers particularly, it's quite nice to be able to layer things up. So the live way of recording in triggers is pretty valuable still. but we have got it in MIDI Capture 2, so I'll just show you how that works. Okay, the BPM was causing me issues then, but let's see how that looks. So I just drag it in. It was quite basic, but then actually, like I said, I think one of the nicest things with triggers is being able to kind of just build it up. So I would maybe be tempted to quantize this because I find with beats that works best, but let's just see. Yeah. So you can drag in your clips straight from the VST. One of the things that you will have kind of noticed we didn't actually touch on yet is that we have this now history of clips that's starting to be created. So every time, the way that it used to work, on the previous MIDI capture, you would arm a recording each time you wanted to do it. Whereas now, every time I press play or record on get the playhead moving in the DAW, it's going to start creating a new clip. So if I just start playing again, you can see here it's listening. And it's created a new clip. And every time I press play, it starts and creates a new clip. And that means you can just quickly do new takes. And if you don't like it, you can take another one, you can take another one, you can just play, stop, play, stop. And then you always have this kind of history through the last few clips you've done. Triggers and pitch, they're all showing the history. And if you any stage decide you don't want them, you can clear history session there. Should I answer a few questions, because I realize we've not paid any attention to any of that yet?
Yeah, I've been kind of looking.
Have we had any, or maybe we haven't?
I think maybe Josh has been on the call.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I think we'll carry on a little bit, but we'll keep an eye on the chat. So yeah, if you have any questions, if you want us to like slow down and re-show some stuff, let us know. If you have a particular thing you want to see. But yeah, just to add to the clip history, there is still this feature. So for those of you who've already used Dubler and have it in their workflow, we still have the enable recording button at the bottom, but it won't sort of automatically be toggled on and off now. You can still use it in your workflow. So if you don't want this sort of additional clips to be created while you're playing back to listen to something, you can always toggle off enable recording and then start playing, and then it won't create any new clips in your history. So that's kind of a nice way to keep it clean. Yeah,
it's true. Although it can be a bit like, oh, you're getting lots of new clips here, but actually it's kind of, for me anyway, I don't tend to scroll back and think, oh, I might use that clip I did 10 takes ago. It often is about what the most recent take is, but this session history means that no take is ever lost. So yeah, it is constantly making new takes, and you can be like, oh, I've got this kind of stream of clips. But the idea is they're kind of like a conveyor belt, and the session history won't be saved between this session and the next one that you do, because it's not like a kind of a library of recordings. It's more like a way of being able to quickly get ideas down, and you're not worried about overwriting your last one or something like that.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. I can see there's a few questions more specifically about like sounds, and maybe we can do a little demo with chords. I think just before we go to that thing, we maybe can talk a bit about our updated key feature, because it's quite an essential cool. one that we've added.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
So for those of you again that like are used to the way that Dubler works, you can do this thing that's called auto key detect that lets you
yeah, we're doing it.
Exactly. So with auto key detect, you can sing in a tune, and it will find what key it is for you and apply this to the pitch wheel. So maybe you can demo this first. Or I guess we don't need to like.
Sure. I think at the moment that hasn't really changed. Although we've made it so that it kind of restricts the number of scales that it will suggest on a first time round, just so that you don't end up being put in a slightly more exotic scale when actually you want it just kind of a major or minor. But that feature is essentially the same, and if you are in Dubler and you kind of know what key you want to go in because you know what clip you're wanting to create or something like that, it's a very good way to get into that key straight away. But we've made a kind of change further down the pipeline, if you like.
Yeah, so now we are also letting you change your mind, let's say, after you've recorded a melodic clip. So what you can see here is that we are showing you the key of your clip. So if you were, in C minor on the pitch wheel and you've created a clip, which was what George was doing, you can have it in C minor in its original key. But if you have this little option toggled on, the default to updated key, then what it will do is default to this second option that you'll find in the drop down, which is going to be a closer key to what you've been singing. So this is really cool because it allows you to, be in a key or be in chromatic or, not even have live audio feedback if you want. You can really adapt it to however you want to work with it. And then it will automatically detect the key that you've sung and apply it. So let's demo. Yeah, let's demo. Yeah.
Oh God, making noises. Right, hang on. I'm just going to switch triggers off so I don't accidentally keep doing that. So at the moment we've got it's in the Dubler set in C minor. But what I'm actually going to do is go over to Ableton. Let's stick on this same synth that we're on before. I'll delete everything out. Otherwise, it's going to play it back every time, isn't it? So I'm still on this kind of massive harpsichord thing, but I'm going to turn off the monitor. D. So now I can't hear back what I'm singing. Now it's not always the best idea because you can drift, or I could sing a melody which is actually in tune with itself, but I'm not singing at the frequencies of what would be considered chromatic notes, if that makes sense. You can end up then kind of singing between keys. So it is good to have a reference point. So it's nice to get a reference point, but you might be recording without much feedback, or you're in a key that isn't what you're wanting to actually create. So I'm just going to do a quick demo of how it is without any feedback in the hope that I sing in a slightly different key. Okay. I did not prepare any melodies for this. Which might surprise you given this such creativity. Oh, so what you can see, I was dragging it away because I was just getting ahead of myself. What you can see is that it auto, what's it called? Updated key. It's defaulted to an updated key of D minor. So in Dubler, we were set in C minor, and I can still go back and choose that. But the VST has now suggested, actually, maybe you'd be better off if you're in D minor. So we can see what the difference is between the two of them. I'll drag in this D minor clip here. Just drag off some of the history. Okay, let's see how that sounds. No, I need to get that first note in. Clipped off too much, sorry. Try again. Oh, I'm just going to turn this metronome off, it's really annoying.
Nice.
So I feel like that's probably quite good because while I was singing that, I didn't know what I was doing as I was starting, and I kind of got a little bit more confident in the melody, and that's why the takes session history is so helpful because that is like a normal thing. It's quite normal to do a take and for it to not be what you wanted, and that's because you haven't quite zoned in on it and you need to practice it and repeat it, and that's kind of why we wanted to do the history, so you can do lots of takes kind of quickly and then choose the one that you want the most. So should we hear it again? I think it's come out all right actually. I might quantize that, I think.
Yeah.
Should we see what it sounds? So in the original key, which was C minor, this is how it would have sounded. Play from here, let's see. It's actually quite nice.
I mean, that's the great thing with this feature is that you're going to get two for the price of one, basically. You can always like change and get more ideas, even if that's not necessarily what you intended first. But yeah, you have kind of the option of like being in that initial key that you set or being as close as possible to what you've sung. So it's a great way to experiment with ideas. I just want to add, I'm looking at the questions in the chat, and I just want to make sure we're answering people who are listening. So someone was asking, do I need this? I'm using Bitwig, or I forget which DAW exactly. Do I need this in order to get the clearness MIDI? Or can I just record straight into Bitwig? Yes, please use Midi Capture. We've basically specifically designed and engineered it so that you can get the best MIDI out of Dubler. So that's our like recommendation when it comes to have like a MIDI clip that you can work with in your DAW. Obviously, if you're doing a live performance and you're not so precious about recording, maybe you're not going to use it. But if you're trying to get an idea from your head into your DAW to work from it, like a melodic idea, especially, we're definitely recommending using MIDI Capture.
Yeah, you can arm the track and use MIDI Capture at the same time. So if you wanted to record both the live and the cleaned up version, you would get both at the same time. So you can experiment with that. But the thing is, with this key, the kind of auto updated key, that's obviously not going to happen if you just take the live feed out of Dubler. And MIDI Capture allows you to do those kind of after the fact adjustments, which can be quite useful. It's especially useful, I think, when you're starting a completely fresh project. Once you've already laid down a couple of parts, you might be very fixed into a key, and that's when you would absolutely go to Dubler, set your project to that key. But even then, I'd still be suggesting using MIDI Capture to get the kind of clean MIDI with the lowest latency and the least number of ghost notes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I feel like we've just opened a little door to what we could be doing with this option. So it'd be really exciting for us to hear back from our users. Like, what would you like to see? Like, do you actually want to have like more options, more scales to select from, for instance? I'll just slide this in that we're always super excited to get a lot of user feedback. If you're not already a beta tester on Dubler, you can go and sign up. You just need to create a Vochlea account if you don't have one, or just log in and go to the beta tester tab, and then you can just sign up. And we do like releases quite often. Like, we do a lot of like testing. Put out features, ask people's opinion about what we should roll out next as features. So yeah, if you're not on the list already, please do that.
Yeah. So we've gone through a couple of things. Under the hood, there's some changes that's gone on with the MIDI algorithms and the cleaning structure that's gone on in line with this auto key update feature. Should we show quickly chords, maybe?
Yeah, let's do chords. Yeah, I think so.
Realised this is actually out of the screen. Oh well, we're doing our best. So if I want chords on, I can go back to Dubler and switch chords on. Again, I'm not going to go in this session like into how all that works, because all I'm doing is literally pressing this chords tab button on. If I wanted to get into all the stuff that you can do with chords, I'd go into the chords tab, and there's actually quite a few videos on that. So yeah, anyway, I've turned chords on. I've got my audio monitor off. Let's maybe change synth as well. So have we got one that we put for chords? This one maybe. D, 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 D. Oh,
nice.
It's a proper little mallet sound. Well, let's just record something in that and see it in MIDI Capture again as well. D, D, D. Okay. I will put the metronome on now. D, 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 D. Oh, it suggested changing that to E minor. I thought I was so on it. Oh well, let's see.
Wow, we can have a listen.
Yeah, well, let's listen to both. I'm not sure that it was that many different notes actually, so there's probably quite a few things it could have fitted into. So you can see here, sorry, I'm dragging it all around trying to see what's going on, that in the session history we've now got the chords clip as well. The root note, or not the root note, but rather the melody that I'm singing is the one that's in this kind of coral orange. I can't go over it because it's going to make the hover overstay. But you can see it there. And then the blue dots represent the other different notes that are in the arrangement of that chord. The arrangement of the chord and the spacing, or voicing, sorry, is all done by Dubler in here. And as I was saying, you can mess around with that in the chords tab if you want. But this is just using a triads preset, which is pretty straightforward. So let's drag that in and see how it sounds. Which one was it? This one maybe. Let's see. Oh, let's just change that back to C minor. Thank you. It's not what I wanted. I want this one. So it is nice being able to flip between them. It gives you that kind of on-the-fly changes to it. Nice. Yeah. So
I really wish we were like good enough that we could produce a full track, but we're the wrong people in the team to do this.
I was just thinking this is probably the best I've managed it, and it's still struggling a bit, isn't it?
I think it's great.
So I'm going to ask you. I should maybe check to see if there's any questions through first. Otherwise, I'm going to ask you.
I think we're good. I mean, we can.
More people joining, so we should go back to doing more demos as well.
Yeah.
In the process of creating this, you said that we have beta testers. How do beta testers? Well, for one thing, get involved. I know they can sign up, but do you reach out to them? And what would a typical experience of a beta tester be that's involved in the process, and how have they contributed towards this?
Yeah, so usually what we do is we do it in stages. So we'll do some like early testing. We usually internally we take a lot on like the feedback that people have told us. We do like sessions where we just like go through people's workflow and try to understand what's missing. And then we usually...
I just changed it, but now you're out the camera, so I thought that might help.
Oh, sorry. So usually we kind of like agree on like some features that we want to try out, and then we're gonna make a first version of this. Usually it's quite lo-fi, and then we'll reach out to people, a couple of people, and then just get them to try it and talk about it, see if they like it. So this is usually like a kind of like early input, kind of like alpha testing, let's say. Really early input into how things should look like, how things should work, and then we're progressing like this, and we keep like involving more and more people up to a pre-release usually that we do to all our beta testers. So everyone who's signed up and is using Dubler will get these versions, and then we get feedback from this. So this is like still time to like input, like things like bugs that you might run into, or things that don't quite run well, and then we do a proper release. But it's usually quite like an iterative process. So we try to incorporate people's feedback kind of often, and then also like the more you feedback, because we have some some forms for you to just fill in, the more likely we are to reach out again, to do like more one-to-one sessions, this kind of stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
I think we have quite a few more questions.
Okay,
Let's have a look.
So I'm sorry, I'm cutting you out of the screen here as well.
Mike is making some key adjustments, probably. I hope it's not making any sound back, but it should be okay if it's...
Oh, what, now? Oh, it might be. Well, I think we'd have heard it through the things. Well, let's just have a quick look if we've got anything else scrolling back. We need to see the...
I feel like there's quite a few more people that joined, so maybe it's good to do another little
demo. Okay.
Demo of, yeah.
So for those that have joined that weren't here at the start, we are just giving a quick overview on what the latest changes are on Dubler 2.2. And as we were saying, a lot of the changes have taken place under the hood, so you won't see any changes on the actual Dubler app side, but you will see changes on the VST side, and the stuff that's gone on under the hood is the way that those two kind of integrate together, and ultimately the output that you get from the Midi Capture VST. So let's go back to it again and just have a quick look. Okay, so this is the Midi Capture VST. You probably already will spot some differences between this and the previous one. We've got the session history, we're going through that. We've got chords, pitch, and also now triggers, which you can record. Oh, triggers are disabled in Dubler. That's good for so I'll just click that back on. So yeah, you can have triggers now in the VST as well, and you also have this kind of automatic key update as well. So if you were singing in a slightly different key to what you had set in Dubler, you can correct that kind of after the fact using the latest update. I think we've got one other synth that I've not tried out in here, so maybe we should just give it a go.
And I think someone just asked questions about recording faster notes and tips to like get cleaner MIDI, so maybe you can demo this with the...
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and we do have some really good videos on how to kind of get the best out of it, and I'll go through some of those pointers now. One thing I would say is if you haven't tried this update yet, to give it a go, because there's a whole like kind of tuning framework that was created behind it, with lots of examples, mainly from the team, but also from all sorts of different ways of singing, to try and get our MIDI cleanup algorithm to do the best job that it could do of trying to get what the user wants. And that's an important distinction, because what you want and kind of what the best translation is might not necessarily be exactly the same. But one of the things that we're all like, we want a better job of is like these really fast stuff like that. That was actually a very fast example. But it's one of the things that we have focused on, and one of the things that has improved in the underlying engine. So if you haven't tried it out with your faster melodies, try it out now on Midi Capture, because you might find that actually it's already working better than it was before on the previous version. That said, there are still some things you can do for better performance with it. Let's try that now. So turn this one off. I can't actually see. Should we try the cello?
Yeah, go for it. Nice.
The cello. I should say that all of these sounds are either, well, they're actually all just basically built-in Ableton sounds, apart from like one massive synth. D, D. Oh, we'll turn off chords. D, 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 and turn off triggers as well.
Yeah. I just want to point out something as well, just Workflow. You don't necessarily need to arm the track on which Dubler Midi Capture is. So what George just did here is that
I can't actually see the arm buttons. I think it's out of shot.
Yeah. Well, what if I drag it out a bit? So we've armed the cello track so that we could hear the live feedback from Dubler. But the Midi Capture plugin that sits on its own track does not need to be armed. It's basically, as George was saying, it's always listening. Not in a 1984 way. It's
always logging what your output is from Dubler.
Yeah, exactly. It's just getting the MIDI notes from Dubler, unless you've toggled off the enable recording at the bottom. But yeah, you don't need to worry about arming it, basically.
Okay, cool. That sounds across a bit. D, 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 D. Right, let's try and record something and see how it comes out with the faster melodies. I might just turn the metronome off because it was annoying me a bit, right? D, 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 D. Oh, that went off. Hang on. Let's just see how that sounds anyway, because it is an example of when you lose what you're doing partway through. But I might actually, let's just turn off the audio back for it, and then I can really try and do something that's like a little bit faster without getting put off. Where is it?
Yeah, so you just go, do you want to turn the audio off?
Yeah, I was going to do that.
We can...
That one, and let's turn that off, I don't know what that is. Alright, let's try again. Back and screen. Interesting to see how it handles that key change partway through.
Yeah.
All right. This is why it's nice. People say, should you do a vocoder? And I'm like, I don't want any of my voice in that sound. I only want to hear the synths or the software instrument. Right, here it is, cello strings. Let's drag it in here. All right, we'll see how it sounds. So it's changed the key, by the way. I don't know if you saw in that. It's changed the key to G minor. Let's see how it sounds.
It's done pretty good for this.
Pretty good job considering that I changed the key partway through. Maybe I should actually do a melody that people know is a better way of doing it, and then you can decide whether it's doing a good job or not. Well, let's try something else.
But just, oops, sorry.
Yeah, no, good.
Just want to add that some of the things that you did to also get like a better MIDI here is start all your notes with an attack, basically, ta-ta-ta-ta, and that's usually going to get you...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, get something a bit more precise. But yeah, we can see already in the clip that there's not... it's captured most of the notes, and like there's not too many little extra ghost notes. So
one of the revealing things, you can't actually see it all that well because obviously on the stream, but one of the revealing things is it shows the pitch contour, and then it shows where it draws the MIDI over the top of it. So the sad thing for me there is that the MIDI is right on the pitch contour. The pitch contour is the problem. But I think when we're demoing here, and I'm just kind of making something up as you go along. Once you start to zone into the kind of the riff that you're trying to create, the chord progression or the melody or whatever, then that will also be something that gets you the better results, because the more that you are confident in what you're singing, So yeah, it's good if you have this percussive onset sound like a D, 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 D. But if you're also very confident in what you're singing, then you're less likely to end up deviating from that, and therefore you'll kind of get what you want. So let's just quickly try again. D, 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 D. That's just a test. D, 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 D. Oh, let's do it again, but without that. D, 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 D. Just wanted to see what would happen. We should really not test. You know, they say if you're like a lawyer or whatever, never ask a question that you don't know the answer. And this is not what you should be doing in a live
what do
demo.
you mean? It's a tune. It's
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I never tried to do that before, so why do it the first time on a live stream? Let's see what happened. Not too bad.
I'm gonna upload this. It's great.
So there you go. That's another Christmas #1 on the way.
I will add something. When you're recording with Dubler, with Midi Capture, I think it's better to get in the flow of doing like multiple recordings, like multiple takes for each new idea that you have by starting and stopping. Because if you do a really long recording, it's basically going to try and apply a key to the entire idea. So it's better to do bite-sized, and then it's also going to be easier for you to sort of like navigate the clip history. We had another question, just I'm going to answer quickly. Someone asked when the update became live and if it was before last Friday. Yes, it's been live for a week.
Well, there's different stages of kind of going live. So what we tend to do when we do a new release, so as Maria already went through all the kind of the beta stages that we would do. But even then, we would go for a kind of soft release. So we release it without telling anyone, so that anyone who's like a new user, a new customer, they will download it and they will try it out. And that way, we don't risk, if there's some bug that somehow got through our like QA testing, then we would have a chance to pick it up before everyone has then gone and updated it. So we only had the update button go live when it tells everyone a new thing, and the email went out, I don't know, quite recently, a few days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So yeah, it's been available on the website for over a week now, but it's only going to pop up, you know, in Dubler you get this little thing, where is it? So I've obviously got the latest version for the demo, but if there was a new version, it would say here, update available.
Yeah, basically you're gonna be notified if you haven't updated yet. So yeah, watch out for it in the in Dubler. But if you've downloaded it this weekend, you definitely have the right update.
I've just seen a question which will almost certainly be answered by Josh, but I'm going to jump on it anyway. Will this be great on my Rode USB mic? And I wanted to say, the Rode make great microphones, right? So you would imagine that it's going to work really well with a Rode microphone, but we really recommend using a dynamic microphone. The reason for that is, although condenser mics like we've got a Blue Yeti here right now are great, they are much more sensitive to all of the kind of background noise and stuff like that. So because of that, if you use Dubler using a condenser mic, you're much more likely to get MIDI artifacts that you didn't want, and so you'll find if you use a condenser, which I assume the Rode USB mic will be, that you're not going to get the best results. So we do recommend a dynamic mic.
Yeah, should we do another beatbox demo? Because I feel like you're too good at this.
Maybe it's the only thing that I can do. That's the only thing that I've used to demo. That's why. Okay, we've got the.
If you want George to like demo a specific thing, go for it. Go in the chat now. It's your time.
That's right. Although if it's anything to do with trying to make something sound nice, we could be here a while. So I've got 6 triggers already in Dubler. Let's just see. I think they're quite velocity sensitive, so I can really adjust the volume of them. I don't know if that's coming through to you all that well. But yeah, so I've got these 6 triggers. Let's record an example. I'm going rogue from the metronome now. We can come back to it if we want. All right. So I could have recorded that in live, but I've also got it recorded here in my history.
And the history preserves all the velocity information as well, so you have the same, you have all the elements that you've been singing as well.
Yeah, well, the MIDI capture stuff, it allows you to do, it obviously cleans up on the pitch side, it cleans up ghost notes and things like that. It also allows us to cut out latency. So we spend a lot of time and putting a lot of effort into trying to make the live experience as low latency as possible. And you're always battling diminishing returns of like just live pitch recognition. But when you have something that's non-real time like this, you can get rid of that very easily. So where was it here? Let's just see how it sounds. I missed that one.
Nice. Yeah, and you said you can't do drums and pitch at the same time. Some people can do it, but the other cool thing was this, is you can actually sort of like have both and switch between one and the other. So you could do like a little beat line and then switch over to melody. It's going to be recording both, basically.
I don't really have a night. Well, we could try this. No, maybe not. Maybe try. Now I'm getting into it. I'm going to try and do pitch and chords at the same time. Is that a really bad idea? Probably. Let's just delete everything from the session history. Have we got any more questions or anything as we're going on? Right, let's just try this. So I'm going to put chords back on. So we've just changed over to a different synth. I've also got the kit is still active, so let's put chords on. D, 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 D. Okay, but the thing if you're recording simultaneously, the thing you need to do is just make sure that you set your channels. Sorry, not that. This channel 1. D, 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 D.
Nice.
D, 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 D. I'm not.
Yeah, maybe we can also say you can always see both at the same time. It's kind of like a little indicator also to like what's happening. But if you're basically using like triggering and also singing, you're gonna have sort of both in view. Hopefully it like tells you as well, why you have stuff that's being recorded on both sides. So if you don't want to have that, just head to Dubler and you can just toggle off triggers or pitch, or just go to a profile that just has pitch, for instance. But yeah, you can record both at the same time. So.
Yeah, no, that's right. I think I was thinking maybe I'll try and do a demo of it. But if you are trying to do both at the same time, the thing that makes a really big difference is choosing a synth that has quite a long release, because obviously you might go do and then you're boom, but as soon as you stop singing the pitch sound, it's going to drop it, and you move on to the percussive sound and it's going to kick that in. But if you have something that has a bit more of a long release, it's going to allow you to kind of blend it and overlap it quite nicely. And if you want to see any of how to do that, watch the videos with Beatboxing on our YouTube channel, who, he's just an expert, so I'm putting that down. Too many background noises.
A couple of people have been asking how many different triggers you can get. You can get up to 8 triggers, trigger sounds. So here, if you sort of like keep adding, basically, just need to like make sure I'm in the play tab in Dubler. You'll just see them appear here. So it's just going to reflect whatever you've got trained. I think it's really up to how many.
Should we train this one?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can train a click.
It's kind of, it depends how many different sounds you're able to make with your voice. Yeah, just keep in mind that like the more triggers, the more different sounds you add, the more precise you're going to have to be with your voice in order to get good results.
So those were the ones I had before. Oh, it's not got a sound map to it. That's a shame. The wow effect is missing. Hang on, let's just see. So it's triggering, but it's triggering off. I'll have to change what note it's on. That's it. As soon as you start to have lots of triggers, you actually run out of samples to go for. All right, let's bring this down to something else. I already had those. No. Yes.
Wow.
Now we're talking. All right. So let's try those again. Yeah. All right. I didn't know that happened, but that's fun. So yeah, I mean, I ran out of basically examples that I can do with my voice easily, but you can.
Yeah, and you can trigger any sample you want, so it doesn't have to be a drum. You can make a fun sample kit if you want and trigger some crazy sounds with your voice.
Yeah, so what I mean, I've always wanted to do a video on this, but what you can do is you could change all of the sounds from being percussive sounds to have it being like D, 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 make that as one trigger, ba, 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 make that as another trigger. Then you map those to like, instead of triggering drum samples, to like bass notes. And then you've actually got a two-part harmony going on. You can go like dee 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 ba ba ba, and then it's going to trigger two things at the same time. Anyway, that's a more experimental video to be done.
Can't wait for it. Yeah, I'm just reminded of one thing. Just focusing back on the update. So we have this really cool session history, which lets you scroll through all the tastes that you've done in one session. I just want to mention for people who are using it, it's not yet saving from one session to the next. So if you close your VST and then you reopen it, it's still going to be here. But if you delete the VST or if you close your project, you're not going to find your clips again. So it's more of a history than it is a library for now. Again, this is something that we'd love to hear feedback on. If you're really missing this aspect, like let us know, because we have ideas about what we want to work on next. But we always appreciate when people tell us what they strongly feel
what's
about.
Useful and what's not. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Let's just see if there are any other questions came in. I only have Dubler version 1 mic. It's the same mic. So the same, if you bought Dubler Studio Kit 1 and you bought the upgrade or Dubler 2, that microphone is going to work. It's the same microphone, and that's completely on purpose, because that way it's you can continue to use it and have the best experience as we do updates.
Another question is, does this work with, does Dubler works with Studio One? Yes, it does. Well, one thing that we should mention is Dubler is a MIDI controller, so it will work with any DAW, any software that takes MIDI as an input. And then we have this additional update that we're just demoing here, which is a plugin, so VST or audio unit, depending on what DAW you're using. And this is available in all DAWs except
Pro Tools.
Except Pro Tools for now.
And if any Pro Tools users are out there, I don't know, is this an experience you have regularly? Because we use Pro Tools, obviously we use all the DAWs to test stuff on, but they have their own methodology for developing VSTs that's not VST or audio unit, is it? It's their own one. So hopefully we'll get it done at some point, but you have to do it specifically for Pro Tools, whereas for all the others, they use either VST or audio unit.
So really sorry, Pro Tools user. But if you buy the studio kit, you have Ableton Live Lite coming with.
They're
so
absolutely
you
right.
can
That's
do a little
good sales
switch.
pitch. And on that, we've completely not mentioned it at all. But on that, we are in the middle of a sale at the moment. If you go on our website on Vochlea.com, you can find the sale price. We've also got a Cyber Monday deal going on at the moment as well. And we only really run one sale a year, and this is it. We haven't had a sale before this, and we probably won't have another one until this time next year. So if you do want to get a Dubler at the best price, you can do that now. That was sales pitch over. We purposely were like, you know what, let's do a video where we talk about some of the cool stuff we do that's for all of our community that have been getting in touch saying we would like triggers in the VST, for example, and we've done it and we want to update it and we want to talk about this. Obviously, you've probably been getting a lot of emails from us about Black Friday, because it is really important for us as a company to be able to keep selling more kits so that we can keep making more changes and more developments, more updates and more products. But at the end of the day, we like making cool music tech stuff, and it's really cool to be able to have a call where we're just talking about that really, and not necessarily about all the sales stuff. So we'll talk about that now. Yeah,
I see another question. Is there a VST2 version for MPC Studio? Ooh, trick question. I'm assuming this is a VST3, which is the only format that we are able to develop in now, I think. So I'm gonna let our support team like jump into this question. I think probably if like the DAW that you're using is, well, definitely if the DAW you're using or the software you're using is not accepting VST3 as a format or audio unit, then you can't use MIDI capture. But most of the DAWs will accept these two formats. And unfortunately for us, we can't sort of like backtrack that and release a VST. I guess 1 or 2 version. It's VST3 only.
Someone's just asked there, so basically since Dubler Studio version 1 works, it's basically got all the updates needed. I'm not 100% sure if I understand that, but one thing I should say is that the VST, so Dubler Studio Kit 1, because back in the days of Dubler 1 you could only have it as a studio kit, and we did some major updates. We did like 3 major updates when we were on Dubler 1. But that was quite a long time ago now, and the VST will not work with Dubler 1. The VST is purely a Dubler 2. Really, we don't consider them as 2 different things. It's part of the Dubler 2 product. We have the Dubler 2 application, and then we have a companion VST, which improves our communication with the DAW. Because if anyone has done any like software development in audio stuff, getting good information to and from the DAW can be tricky, so having the VST allows us to have a kind of better link to the DAW, but really they're like different sides to the same product. So yeah, the VST isn't available with Dubler 1, it's a purely Dubler 2 thing. All I was saying is that the microphone from Dubler 1 is the same as the microphone from Dubler 2, so if you're upgrading from Dubler 1 to Dubler 2, you don't need to upgrade the microphone, you can use that mic for Dubler 2 as well.
Yeah. There's still people joining.
I'm
loving it. This is amazing. We need to do more demos.
I know. You know, it's a bit. It reminds me of when I used to be in a band. I'm still in a band. We just haven't played for a while. And you get to the end of the set and you start back from the beginning because you run out of stuff to play. But I'm happy to do some more demos.
Yeah, everyone's dying for it. Let's do the first scene that we had on because we haven't heard it in a while.
We haven't heard it in half an hour. All right, which one even was that? I think, maybe that's actually what I was just doing, this one.
Oh, someone was asking if we could do a bass. We're not sure it's going to go really well with the speakers. We could try to.
Yeah, why not? Well, should we do it on, I'll tell you what, we can. This is what I was saying we should really avoid doing. Getting into sound design. Okay. I've got Massive here. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. I'm certainly not. But this is a synth by Native Instruments. It is great.
Again, just to clarify, Dubler 2 is not a synth. It's a MIDI controller with a VST that is what happens to be like an instrument synth, but it's not going to create any audio for you. So you need to use either the instruments that are in your DAW or some third-party instruments like Massive in order to play back something, basically.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out, because I should say this that you're seeing here is not part of Dubler. It doesn't come with Dubler. It's a software instrument and it's part of my library. I only have 2 things in my library, Massive and a load of Ableton stuff. And you can use Dubler to control it as you could any MIDI controllable software instrument. But yeah, okay. Well, oh god, no, what am I doing?
A bass song? Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, is that a bass sound? That's coming through nicely to me, but I doubt that's coming through all that well because it's so low pitch. I mean, can anyone hear that? Let's just see what people are saying. Can you hear that?
Yeah, we can do it as chords. It will have a
but
bit
chords
more.
with a bass, isn't that like a cardinal sin? Well, it's not if you've got like a 7-string bass. Anyway, let's see. D. Oh, I'm not doing that. No. Refuse. Right, let's try a different one. D. Oh, D.
Go for this one.
Okay, that's quite loud. Maybe too loud, but whatever. It gets the point across. All right. D. Can't believe people are going to be tuning in. There's people that are tuning in just now, and this is what you're hearing. I apologise.
We're not music.
We've been going for a while, and now we've gone to browsing through Massive. Oh, let's just record something in that. I'm going to turn you know what? I'm actually going to turn the audio feedback off. D D D D D. Let's just try it. D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D. I thought I need to repeat a few phrases because I got it wrong at the start. But this is an example because obviously what we're doing here, right, is recording a bass, and I've done exactly the same as what I did when I was recording a melody, which apart from, okay, what you're going to say is record something that sounds awful. But what I mean is record at a pitch and with the same like onset sounds or whatever, because Dubler will take care of the rest. And if I want to drop the octave and do a bass line, I can do that in Dubler. There's octave shift over here, and I could just change the pitch down to do a bass line. So I'll just always sing wherever's most comfortable for me. It's corrected the key to A sharp major or B flat major, I guess. And which one was it? I think it's this one, isn't it? Because we started messing up with them. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see how that sounds. That beautiful melody. Yeah. What happened was I got it wrong at the start, and then it's put me in because that was what I wanted. But then
just do another take, I guess.
Yeah, another take. This is an example. I turned the background feedback off. D D D. If you do that, it's quite easy to drift away your own pitch. D D D D. But as I'm live streaming it, it's easier to do it because there's a lot of things going on. Let's try it again. Oh no! But without what I played before coming back. D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D. I almost went off piece then and started doing something new, and then I was like, fight it, fight it. Right, let's see how that comes back.
Nice.
I mean, it's made significantly worse by the synth that we've chosen there. Let's not use that one anymore, I would suggest. Right, any questions?
Yeah. I mean, going through some more requests for chords.
Let's do chords on one of the nicer sounding ones.
Yeah, let's do it. Someone was also saying, I'm thinking about when I'm out and about, I can record myself on my phone, bring it home, tweak it with auto-tune or Melodyne, then pipe it into Dubler. Do you want to answer that one? Yeah,
you can. I mean, one of the things we get a lot of comments. Vast majority of them, obviously, all like great and interested in what we're doing and stuff like that. A lot of people saying you should do this, like, or that's not the way to do it. You should do this. You should do that. There's no rules, right? You can do whatever you want. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. How you would do it would be slightly tricky. You'd probably have to pipe the audio in with something like Black Hole or something like that. But you could do it, and why not? People are talking about plugging a guitar in. Could you plug a guitar into Dubler? We didn't design Dubler to work with, we did design Dubler to work with the voice, which is a monophonic instrument. And so because of that, if you plug a guitar in, it's not going to recognize polyphonic things like chords and stuff like that, but it will do a job on monophonic stuff. Plus you could do something like train triggers to the difference between a palm muted sound or an open string sound and stuff like that. There's loads of things you could experiment with, and we always like, try it. Try it and let us know. Yeah, let us know what you do.
Yeah, try it and send us some videos.
What are we doing? Chords.
Yeah, let's do chords.
Right.
On a nice sound.
Not on that sound. And whatever we do, never use that sound again.
Did we try it on a harpy? Let's do it on harpy.
Let's try on this one. Okay. D D D. I haven't got any chords there. D.
Oh.
That's interesting. D D D D D.
Oh, on the piano. Otherwise, we can try.
It's just.
Yeah, let's reload.
D D D D D D. That is interesting. I've not seen that one before. D D D D. We could try it on piano. Maybe it is something to do with the synth itself.
Yeah, let's try it on the piano.
Sometimes.
This is what happens when we diverge from the initial plan of the live stream.
This is what you happen 1 hour into the live stream when you're running out of ideas. On grand piano, okay, this is the most. I put this one in because it's the least forgiving of everything, when you really get to see what's going on. D D D D D D.
Nice.
Okay. Turn it down a bit. It's quite velocity sensitive as well. Should we record something? So you could record that all just live, by the way. We're talking here about the Midi Capture VST, but it should be like, I don't know, reminded, I suppose, that you can use Dubler direct, you can use Dubler live, and this is all live coming out the door. I was getting awfully close to the Rugrats theme tune then. Should we try record something?
Yeah, let's try and record something. Someone was asking, can you adjust single notes from Dubler output? Can you adjust or shift the pitch of any single note recording from Dubler? I'm not sure what that means exactly. If it's like after you've recorded, yes, of course it's MIDI. You can do whatever you want with it. If it's while you're recording or like for a live thing, well, not really, because that's how MIDI works, I guess. So we can't. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. No, that's right.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, this probably almost certainly isn't what you're asking, but you can put on in Dubler we have pitch bend. And we also have a distinction, so I'm just quickly, we're really diving into stuff now. There's a lot that you can do in Dubler, and we're not going into all of that today because this was really about what the updates are. But you can output MIDI to 3 different channels simultaneously in Dubler. We separate it, one for trigger sounds, one for pitch sounds, and one for chord sounds. So and we also have pitch bend. If you wanted to, you could do things like pitch bend just on the pitched melody and keep chords straight, or you can bend on the chords. So you can do some live adjustment of notes as well by using pitch bend.
Yeah, we also have to add on that pitch bend is currently not recorded in Midi Capture. So if you want to record pitch bends or vowels, use the sort of classic live recording way of doing this. So using the record button in your DAW and routing the MIDI straight into your track. This is something that we're thinking about as well, but again, it'd be good to have some feedback from our users, see how needed this is for MIDI capture. But yeah, just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you should do one last, because we're running out of time on the live stream, so I think you should do one last, well, I don't know how you want to go about it.
What are you suggesting? What's the least worst thing I've done?
Like a closing tune.
A closing tune. That's so mean. All right. I'm going to do this without, and just want to show the key update feature one more time. So I'm going to do this without a key set. Da 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 da. Okay. Played it reasonably safe. Bit of waver in the voice. We are trying to live stream it, so forgive me a little bit. Okay, in here, let's see. So that actually put me in C minor, which is what we're in. So it's good to know that I'm not completely off the mark. Well, that's nice.
Yeah, that's a good closing.
Yeah, we now need to build it up. So I don't know how well that, because basically we're playing it out through the speakers here. It's picking up through another microphone and then coming out to you guys. So one of the things that was nice there was you really had some velocity sensitivity on the way the notes were played, which really gives a kind of human effect of playing, which is an advantage to using your voice as opposed to using like a MIDI keyboard, which if it's got aftertouch or touch sensitivity, you can do those kind of you can get good velocity sensitive keyboards, but I don't know, the voice is a nice way to do that. Anyway, is that a good point to wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, just answering another question, Dubler is not a synth, it's a MIDI controller. I'm just going to reiterate this, so you can use it with any instrument. So you're not, someone was asking, are you limited to Dubler's instrument? Dubler has some preview sounds that you can use as kind of a test, and you can also hear it back even if your DAW is not open, but you can't record any of these sounds, and you're certainly not limited by them. So you are piping out MIDI, you can use it with whatever synth you have.
Yeah.
But I think
cool.
I think
Well,
a good one.
yeah, if you have any more questions, just get in touch with us and we'll follow up over support, or we'll address them in the next live stream. I think we've got another live stream actually coming up quite soon. So yeah, we're going to try and do more of these, and feedback in your ideas. Let us know how you get on with the plugin. And yeah,
and next time you'll have some, proper producers from our team
Yeah,
actually making a great track, not like what we did.
Yeah, exactly. If there's one thing you shouldn't judge us on, it's the quality of what we created. Anyway. Yeah, cool. All right. Thanks very much, everyone, and have a nice rest of your day or evening wherever you are. Bye.
Bye.